Today we're going to be doing episode 2 of the KLX 140 build. Now this is going to be the fastest KLX 140 you'll ever see. If you haven't watched the first video, go back and check that out. But this is going to be part 2. This is going to be me putting the motor in, getting the wiring done, and test fitting stuff to make sure everything works, like the tank and stuff like this, the air box, and make sure there's nothing in the way, and the pipe and all that good stuff. So this is a 250cc Zhongxing, however you pronounce it, engine. It has an overhead cam and all that stuff, which I'll explain that a little bit later. But it's a very reliable engine. It's air cooled, and honestly, it's beefy for what it is. So let's go ahead and get into the video. I'll show you what I did and how I'm mounting this thing and how I'm running the wiring and all that good stuff and what I'm keeping stock and what I ain't. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. All right, so there's a few things I want to show you on this wiring harness. Now, when you get the wiring harness, this will be your main harness. So this is my engine harness, and this is the engine harness with the motor, right? So it has your typical collars on it, and then it plugs in, and it's different collars. So we don't want to go by the plug like on the engine or on the coil or the CDI box. So we don't want to go by the wiring harness like on the motor. We don't want to go by the wire collar on like the coil and stuff like that. We want to go by the wiring harness, its main wiring harness that you get, not the products that plug into it. So it just shows you, your key switch. You're gonna have a key switch in your hand, and this right here is white and black, green, black, and red. So on your main wiring harness, you want to plug your key switch into that. It tells you what the colors are. And this is how easy these are to read. A lot of people make them complicated, but they're really not that bad. This is your main harness, and say I bought a kill switch off Amazon, or say I bought a rectifier off Amazon, right? And you have a plug-in that looks the same, and you don't know which plug to plug it into after you got your new rectifier. You just take the rectifier in your hand with the plug, and you look on the main wiring harness on the bike, and you see green, black, white, yellow, and red. That's where your rectifier will plug in. So this is the diagram for the kit I got for my bike. Super self-explanatory. I mean, it can't get any easier than this. Now, a lot of people get this kit, and the engine won't fire. There's two reasons why it does that. We're going to have a brake switch, right? So it's going to have like two little slide-on connectors. It's really long. Mine came up right here. Mine ran with the key switch, and it ran up front with the key switch and the kill switch and the starter switch. And as you can see, it's yellow and green. So it's either green with a yellow tracer or yellow with a green tracer. And then we have a black wire. What you want to do is wire those two together if you don't have a brake switch. I have a dirt bike, it's not going to have a brake switch. If you do not wire these two together, this machine will not fire, okay? So you wire those two together, and you can kickstart it, and you take the plug out and you lay it here, and it fires when you kickstart it, but when you use the electric start, it don't fire. Now, I am putting a 250 engine in this bike, right? So the battery might not have enough cranking amps, which is an old battery, right? So the battery's a little weak, and it wouldn't make this thing fire with the electric start because it couldn't turn it over fast enough. So I got a new battery, and now it sparks. So that is another thing to look at. So when you get your engine, there'll be a plug-in down here. There'll be two plug-ins that come with your engine, right? It's already bolted to, or it's already made into your engine. One's going to have a green plug on it. Wrap it up, zip tie it up here out of the way, because you don't need that. This is for your safety stuff and all that hoopla. You don't need none of that stuff. All right, I did film me putting the engine in this thing, but you couldn't see anything because you actually have to put it in from this side. Where the overhead cam access plate is, like your timing chain pulley at the top, you have to, it's hard to explain, and I don't want to just show you the video because it's just basic basically me just doing this right here, and you can't see anything. I really didn't think it through. So basically, you got to pick this engine up and tilt the head up in here, kind of lay it down, and pick it up, and then pull back and set it down in there. And it goes right in, no problem. After there's like foot peg mounts on the bottom, you have to trim those off, okay? And then there is a motor mount on the top right here. You'll have to trim that off also. And then it goes right in there, no problem. Didn't have an issue at all. And I'll show you the mounting points that I'm going to be doing today also that I made. I'm trying to use as much stock mounting points that I can. We got the wiring just laying in here. We got to sort all that stuff out. We're going to be running the stock battery in the stock air box, and we're going to be putting an aftermarket pipe. As you can see, we cut it in half because we have to modify it a little bit. So we're going to be doing this stuff together. The only thing, like I said, I didn't get video of because it's just me standing in front of the camera with my back facing towards it, is just sliding the motor in. And honestly, if you've taken a motor out of a dirt bike, it's nothing hard, right? So this is a 250cc Zhongxing, I don't know how to pronounce it, engine, and they're very reliable. They are in a lot of motorcycles, cheap dirt bikes, mid-range dirt bikes. But this particular engine right here, it has a little plate right here. It's ZS172FMM-3A. This is a very reliable engine, and it is a true 249cc. But what I ended up doing was replacing the head with a 300cc kit, and it's been poured and polished, and this thing should be a nice little ripper, right? So it comes with the kicker, it comes with the shifter, it comes with a CDI box, and it comes with a sprocket. Now it has a 520 sprocket. I'm actually going to go ahead and use the 428 sprocket that come with this bike. That particular one won't fit it, but the one off Amazon does fit it, which I have all the parts to that, and it goes right on, no problem. We got the start button kill switch right here. We got it ran. It's got a key switch. We have to use it. I'm going to put that somewhere. We got all the wiring harness tucked in here. We got the rectifier over here, the CDI box over here. The solenoid is right here. And then we have like a little bit of a wiring piece here. The starter and all that stuff, which is no big deal. This stuff will get buttoned up, no problem. The wiring on this thing is super easy. We got the coil over here also in the stock mounting location. Today we're going to make sure the pipe fits, which I'm pretty sure it does. This motor sets right in here, no problem, in the mounting locations. But let's go ahead and see if we can get this pipe in here and see what it's going to look like. Now this is a Honda 230 exhaust kit that was $90. Like I said, I did cut it in half, but we're setting that when we get it tightened up. This will be over here anyway, so we kind of want this pipe about right here. All right, that looks pretty mean. So we do have to do a little trimming, which this will be a little bit later on down the road after I get the plastics in. But we have to do a little trimming on the exhaust. It's going to be sitting somewhere in here. So basically, we're going to have a pipe back here. A little bit of trimming we got to do, but not a whole lot. Like I said, I want to get the plastics on because we're using a KX plastic kit, and I want to make sure the exhaust fits right. So the end of this exhaust will be last. As long as I got my header pipe run around the engine where I want it. Honestly, that's all I wanted to see. So it's going to set about right here. Got to elbow it over, mount it right here. It's going to be pretty sick. This is getting painted also. So it's actually on sale. These usually go for about $100. I got it for $65. So we got all the wiring done. We got all that stuff done. Now I want to see if the tank does fit, because you want to make sure the tank fits, because if not, you're going to have to do some rerouting. Like I said, there is a motor mount on the top right here. You have to trim that off in order for your tank to fit. I do know that. Sets right down in there. That's sick. Everything is fine. The dipstick is a little close, and the kicker is a little bit close to the foot peg. But I'll be mostly using the electric start. That's what I like about this engine. It has both. So if you get stranded in the woods, you can start this thing by foot instead of relying on electric start, which I didn't like that on the KLX 140. I wanted to keep everything in the stock location, like the coil, it's in the stock location. The rectifier over here is in stock location. There is a solenoid over here, and then I have the CDI box right here, which it'll get mounted in a piece of rubber. I'll show you the mounts that I did here. So here is the engine up close. As you can see, it went right in the mounts, no problem, right? If yours are tweaked a little bit, you might have to spread them out, but it went right in, no problem. Mounts are stock mount locations. I just turn the brackets the other way. So I have a mounting point here and here. What I'm going to do is drill a hole in this frame. As you can see, here's where the hole used to be. I'm going to drill a hole in this frame and put a nut and bolt there. And I did the same thing on the other side. Here's a lot clearer view. We just flip the mount over. Here's the original mounting hole. But here's the mount here, a mount hole here, and then we're going to drill a hole right here. And that's it for that piece and the bottom. So here's the mount you have to grind off at the top so it clears your tank. As you can see, the tank is setting flush, setting down on there. Everything is cleared. And another thing is the dipstick clears. You can get it out. So when it comes to the stock mounting brackets, they are together, right? So what I ended up doing was cutting them in half and slotting it a little bit, and we're going to put them like this. It's being held up back here, and it'll be held up right here, and then we're going to do the same thing with the leftover bracket that we have. We're going to paint them black and make them look good and all that, and you won't even know. We just cut them in half, ream that hole out a little bit, and that's what's going to happen here. And then you'll have some right down here, just like this. So it's going to have motor mounts all over this thing, and it should be fine. Here's the pipe. You do have enough room. Mounts up just fine. The clearance on this is fine because this will be pulled forward. Other than that, like I said, here's the kicker. Other than that, this thing almost like it belongs in there. We have enough room up in here. There's plenty of space up in here. I don't see an issue with anything, and now it's just putting stuff back together, honestly. But the train is straight on the sprocket up there and right here. Now don't let it fool you, because this engine kind of looks like it sits crooked on the bike, but it actually doesn't. It's just the way the side covers and stuff are, so don't let that fool you. But I wanted to check this chain before I went ahead and buttoned up putting these motor mounts on, because if I have to tweak something, I can do that back here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and throw the clutch cable on, and as you can see, it's not gonna reach, so we're gonna move this either right here or right here. We'll have to see. All right, so what I ended up doing was taking the stock clutch mounting piece from back here, flip it over and put it right here. It is at a little bit of a bind, but the clutch does work. Stick our boot over it. It clears our exhaust. No problem. And now we got to do is turn this exhaust into here, down into here, and make it come out the back. So as far as everything working on the engine as it should, it works out nice. I wanted to use this bracket off my original motor, but I can't get these bolts out. So I know a lot of you guys are probably wanting to know if this engine will fit with stock plastics. And I am running a KX 100 side plate. I always have since I got this bike. I went ahead and zip tied everything together just to show you that everything does work with this bike. I'm still working on the exhaust. I'm going to take it in a little bit and keep it away from the head. We might wrap it, I'm not sure. That way it keeps the heat down on my leg. But everything comes together perfect with the stock plastics. You don't need to do a plastic swap like I'm going to be doing. You can run the stock plastics if you want. And as far as room up in here for all your electronics, like this is my starter button. You know, your coil's in here, right where it needs to be. This one comes with a key switch. It's going to get mounted up here behind the bars. All this stuff gets hidden there nice. The shifter lines up good. Chain lines up good. As you can see, the air box is going to be in there. Everything goes together like it's meant to be in the bike. So I think it looks pretty sick. We have a lot of work to do yet. I have to get the plastic kit in. Do the exhaust. You will see a video of this thing running. It runs pretty good. Got all the wiring done and all that good stuff. This is going to be one cool bike.